Tony, what was the story of today's scrimmage?
You know, Coach, this scrimmage here, Coach always challenges us by mixing up the groups and letting maybe the first unit go versus second unit. And I thought our first group of guys got off to a good start, pretty much consistent throughout the entire scrimmage. One mishap there at the end that we got to clean up, but overall I thought they did a good job of executing, but can't say the same about the second unit. Obviously, you know that one thing we've prided ourselves on in the past is just having quality depth, and it can't drop off. It doesn't matter if you're the first one to run out there or the second one. The standard is the same, and the second unit didn't have the consistency and execution that we wanted to see.
What was the problem with the second unit?
You know, they're going against Brent in that defense, and the speed of the game probably picked up a little bit on them. And obviously we got some guys down on the offensive line, so we're mixing and matching with some of those young guys. And you know, a guy in particular, man, that's tough on Rayburn. You know, if you're in there running with the second team and you got Tyler Davis and all these guys coming at you and they're moving and doing different things, but you know, but also some of the older guys too. You know, Chase had a couple of decisions that thought he would have made a better decision. You're used to seeing him make a better decision, and had a couple drops, and so just inconsistency at all positions.
A name we haven't heard on campus, Lynn J. Dixon.
Right.
How has he been so far?
You know, that's a good thing you haven't heard his name, you know, because he's doing what he's supposed to do. You know, I tell you what, he's matured a lot. You can see that he has a renewed sense of urgency. He understands the expectations of being the guy that comes in right behind Travis. And again, what I was talking about a second ago, there is no drop off. You know, he's been battling. They're all sore. They're all beat up. We've had a lot of live snaps here the last couple of weeks, but the last couple of days. But he came in today, and I thought that he played fast, made a couple of good cuts, and so I was pleased with his performance today. Seems like he's really starting to understand too, from a pass protection standpoint, where we want to be targeted. But again, he still has to. He's a young guy. He's got to clean up his technique. But I'm pleased with his understanding of defensive structure and being able to at least sort out all the different blitzes. And we just got to clean up with a point of attack when he gets there.
The season started today. Do you have a number 3 on the depth chart at running back?
Trying to figure that out. And the young guys, you know, I think they came in and started fast, and then they're realizing what college football is all about. They're into that second week of camp and a lot of live snaps, and then the installation hasn't stopped. So things are starting to pile up. And I tell you what, I've been pleased with Rencher. You know, Rencher's a guy that if he just has to accept his role and understand that when he goes in there, don't try and do too much. Just be yourself. And you've seen flashes of him, you know, making some really good plays. He's a very reliable guy, very trustworthy in pass protection. You know, the biggest thing for him is trying not to do too much, play within his game, and he'll have a chance to compete for that spot. But you know, we're going to discuss it as a staff. You know, try and make some decisions after we watch this tape. But I couldn't say that I have a no doubt number 3 yet.
How are y'all holding up depth-wise on offense?
You know, the offensive line probably is well, early on in camp it was a tight end position. You know, we had a lot of guys get banged up there, but you know, majority of those guys have come back, with the exception of Davis, and then now it's kind of the offensive line. You've had guys that have gone down on the offensive line, which you know is a good thing for us in terms of giving other guys opportunities, but at the same time too, you hate it for those guys because they're on the sideline and they can't practice. But overall, well, with the exception of those couple guys on the offensive line, the receivers and the backs and the quarterbacks have made it through pretty good.
Davis being still missing another scrimmage, obviously that puts him way behind. How are you guys trying to at least keep him somewhat caught up?
You know, he's one thing about Davis is you could tell it's important to him. I mean, you haven't seen a change in his engagement at all. And in the walkthroughs that we have in the evenings, we're able to get him in there and at least get him lined up, put him through some of the plays, see if he can identify his fits. And comes from a great program. He's got a really good football IQ. You know, the biggest thing is we just got to see once we're able to get him out there live from the physical standpoint. You know, I think from a mental standpoint, you know, he's going to be where we want him to be. It's just now, can he do the physical things we want him to do?
With Chase, was it just a bad day, or is it something he's kind of been inconsistent during camp?
Who's that?
Chase.
No, I think it was more. Chase has been good. I think it was just today. There were a couple of, and again, it's you know, for quarterbacks it's tough because the receivers, you know, they might not be running as fast as they were day one. And obviously I made the comment the other day. I said I think the legs wear out before the arms do on the quarterbacks, and so he just missed a couple throws and in a couple situations and. You know, we're in a couple of critical situations just trying to get rid of the ball and not, you know, sometimes they get a false sense of security in practice because they can't be touched. Sometimes they hold on to that ball, trying to drive it down the field. We just want to see them get rid of it more consistently. But no, today was just a day. You know, it's not indicative of his camp.
Who are you seeing step in at tight end behind JC?
I tell you what, I've been really pleased with Jalen. You know, Jalen is a completely different guy from the spring. You can tell now that he's a lot more confident. He's catching the ball well. You know, he's starting to understand all the different fits in the run game. So I've been impressed with him this camp. And I tell you, this Luke Price is a guy that could fill a role for us. You know, at that position, and he's caught the ball. You know, really well this fall camp, and he brings an element of toughness.
How would you assess Pumachan's camp?
You know, Pumachan, I think early on was doing really well, but then here as the installation is piled up, you can see that he's a freshman. You know, trying to handle the motions, the shifts, the protections. It's really starting to pile up on him. But I mean, physically, the guy is gifted. I mean, he's very smooth. And one thing you can tell is when you look at him, he reminds you a lot of Deshaun. He just has a cool, quiet, calm demeanor. But also you can see he's a freshman too because the inconsistency in the operation of the offense is there.
With Blake out, how was that kind of shuffle? I mean, you plug different guys. I think Hunter and Putnam even worked some attacks.
Yeah, those guys. Robbie's he's had his hands full in his last couple of days with Cade and Blake being out. But that means Rayburn's got to get in there at center. Putnam's had to play guard and tackle. You know, same thing with Caleb. He's had to play some tackle, play some guard, and so it's just an opportunity for those guys to get more reps. And then also too with some of your older guys, it gives John maybe an opportunity to play a little bit of tackle, in certain situations. So that's been good.
When you look at as you guys go in discussions on who to redshirt or from here, how much do you look at helping this season, and how much do you add in? Well, we got to have a guy ready for next, for 2020 even by getting in.
Me personally, I haven't been a guy that looks ahead to next season. Man, we got to focus on what's best for this team. We're not guaranteed next season. So I know, especially in my position, I'll be looking at, is it what's the need? Is the guy ready? And then what's best for him? Just in his future, not necessarily next season, but I'm not going to give it much consideration going forward. It's really going to be on this year's team. Can it help us now?
With Tyson, would it be perfect world? He plays in 4 games and then red shirts.
We'll discuss that here, next couple of days and make that decision. It's hard to tell. Again, the rule is new. And trying to figure out what's that balance. And then the previous question in terms of, are you looking towards next year or this year? I think we'll sit down and see where he's at right now, see if he could have a role on his team, and if it helps his team, then I think that's what the decision will be based on.
Is there an offensive lineman you feel like has helped himself the most this month?
Jackson Carmen. No doubt, Jackson Carmen. Jackson Carmen was a guy that we knew coming in the door, physically had the gifts, had to grow up and mature a little bit. He kind of went through that spell early on when he got here in January, but he's a completely different guy. Highly intelligent, very smart football player. And now it looks like he's just bought into the way we operate here. And that's what it is. When you buy in, then you have a chance to be successful. And he's really helped himself, and that's resulted in him being a lot more consistent too.
Thanks, John.
Speaking of redshirting guys, if they ask themselves, is that something y'all always allow?
If they ask themselves,
Yeah.
it depends. Each situation is going to be different. Obviously you got to look at the need of the team. If the need of the team, and then after the need of the team, then you look at what's best for the young man. But obviously the team is the most important, and so trying to find out what's best for the team first, and then if it works to where the best thing for the team is the best thing for them to redshirt, and then again you still got the 4 games. So even if you make a decision now, you still got the 4 games to kind of go back on that decision or reinforce that decision going forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Thanks, Coach.